it's Monday, bitches. It is Monday. What are we doing here? What is the meaning of life? What's going on in the world that's stupid? I don't know, but it's Monday and I'm here. I'll tell you what, and it is freaking hot. It is so dang hot out. You know, Missy, she's got her army, her squadron of furry friends, her dogs walking around all the time. So I try to get out of the house to actually record these shows, and I go to the garage. The problem is in the garage, because for those of you that don't know, I live in the desert, and it is so hot. How hot is it, you might ask? It's so hot that I try to do these shows, and if I wait too late in the day, my computer gets so damn hot, and it's not an old computer. It's a rather, new MacBook, but it's so hot that I can't even record the show. The computer just jumps and skips and does all this kind of crazy stuff. So I'm trying to get it out of the way. It's probably already too late. I'm dripping sweat. It's miserable. It's just nasty. It's almost as miserable as some of the stuff that I'm seeing on my Facebook timeline this morning. It's just really outrageous. So we're going to get to the news. Once again, this is Jake with Radio Underland. This is the daily news show where I try not to give my opinion, but sometimes the stories are so stupid, I just can't help myself. It's supposed to be an unbiased news show, but I can't help it. I'm a very biased person, just like any of the rest of the media out there. You think Fox News isn't biased, you have another thing coming. Same thing with CNN. All news is biased. Accurate, just non-biased news reporting no longer exists. It's just the state of the state that we find ourselves in today. Anyways, I'm going to get to the news. I know we've got a lot of stuff to cover. There's that shooting up there in Gilroy at the Garlic Festival. Another asshole. Some kid that probably needed to be spanked when he was younger, getting out of control and going on a shooting spree. And I know details are still coming out about that. But let me get to something else. Let me fade this music out, because one of the major things that I'm seeing on my timeline this morning, and it's pretty ridiculous, okay? So apparently there's this couple, a couple that's hanging out at Disneyland, doing what people do at Disneyland, and it's been super, super, super hot at Disneyland, and Disneyland has done this thing recently where they pretty much eliminated all the places that you can sit down in the parks, okay? So if you're cruising around the parks and you just want to sit down and take a break, good luck finding a place to do that. The only seating that they really have available is inside the restaurants, on the patios, etc. So there's this viral picture, and I'm saying viral, I guess it's not nationwide viral, but in the, the sub-Disney communities, which, a lot of people that listen to the show have Disney passes and whatever. But anyways, in the sub-Disney communities, there's this picture going around, and it's this girl, and she's laying just in one of the walkways, off to the side by the curb. And of course, she's got a pretty big, voluptuous, I can say voluptuous, right? She's got a pretty big ass, and she's wearing, I guess you'd call it Daisy Dukes, or, cut off jeans or short jean shorts, and her ass is kind of hanging out. And people are losing their mind. Now, first off, I don't know who the creep was that took the photo. I don't know who the girl is. Thankfully for her face isn't, shown in the picture at all. So her identity is top secret. But there's this couple, and she's laying down. Her ass is out there for all the world to see, which if you have a problem with it, then freaking turn away. And she's laying there with her arm around her significant other, a male that's laying beside her. And then they have a stroller. And I'm assuming the baby in the stroller is probably taking a nap. And so mom and dad, or mom and baby's daddy, or mom and daddy's uncle that mom still fucks around with. Or I don't know what's going on exactly in the situation. But the bottom line is people are complaining about two things. They're complaining about her ass hanging out in public. Okay, well, whatever. Like I said, if you got a problem with it, look the other way. And the other thing they're complaining about is this girl laying down on a sidewalk or a walkway at Disneyland. But that's kind of like, to me, it's kind of, that's what Disney has pushed people to do, because there's no other places to sit down. If you walk around the Disneyland parks recently, you can see that there's no more benches around. They've removed most of them, and they were trying to clear up walkways. They said because it was the complete influx of the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge crowds that were coming in and everything, which was a complete bust. And we can talk about more about that in a second. But I don't know. It seems like people need to get a life. Everybody has an opinion about everything. It's the day of the internet where people actually think that their opinion matters. Like I think that my opinion matters, and my opinion doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. But leave the poor girl alone. I will give it to her. She's got a nice ass, but who cares? somebody's laying around at Disneyland and you're going to make a big deal about it. And I do think that I do have a little bit of issue with the guy that took the photo. It's like, come on, man. If that was your daughter or something like that, you want somebody taking a picture of your daughter's ass and posting it on the internet? But whatever. It is what it is. People are stupid. But I have to admit, I do love reading these comments and the emotion, the outrage from some of these people that is caused over this kind of stuff. And for those of you that don't know, for those of you that are tuning in, you only listen to the podcast only, you can definitely check out some of our Facebook groups. We have, of course, there's the page for Radio Underland, and then there's the Radio Underland News Group. And that's where a lot of these people that listen to the show, and some people that don't listen to the show, but they find their crazy news articles around the internet and kind of pull them together and post them all in one location. So you can definitely follow that page or that group on Facebook, and that's the Radio Underland News Group. And that's also where you can, like and follow and subscribe or whatever you do on Facebook to catch our live shows that go out on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And while I'm sitting here, let me talk about that just for a second. So this Tuesday, we have absolutely no guests, nothing whatsoever. So we're flying stupid. I would say flying blind, but we're not blind. But this is one of those shows where anything can happen. And I know anything can happen because we don't have anything planned. And what is that saying? Idle hands are the devil's playground, or idle hands with Satan make you masturbate. There's some saying out there. I'm not too sure what it is. Old wives' tale or something like that. Anyways, this Tuesday, we don't have anything planned. So I was talking to my buddy, Shut Up Sean. He actually came and hung out with me on Saturday night. He came down to the club. He was wearing his cowboy hat and his white shirt and his Wranglers and his boots, and he was just in very, very full 100% Shut Up Sean mode. And so he comes out there, and I'm talking to him, and I said, well, how much stand-up comedy do you have written right now? And he tells me, he's all, well, I've got half an hour, which I find hard to believe, but he claimed that he has a half an hour of stand-up ready to go. So I told him for this Tuesday, definitely, let's just focus on your best 15 minutes, and we'll have 15 minutes of Shut Up Sean doing what he does best. What he does best. Shut Up Sean's going to be doing his stand-up. At least that's one aspect of what's going on the show this Tuesday. Also, we're getting close to Missy's birthday, all kinds of stuff going on. But, I need to get back to what this show is about, and this show is supposed to be about the serious news. And I started off pretty good when we started doing this morning thing of just sticking to the news. Then I veered off of it because, I'm just an attention-seeking asshole, and the news is boring. And I want to talk about other things. But, I've been cooped up all weekend, been working my ass off, and now I'm behind the mic, and I need to shut up and get back to the serious news. That's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go to the serious news. Okay, let's get this going. Now, this next story that I'm going to talk about is it's rather interesting. It's interesting for a lot of reasons, but what happened was there's a California woman that was convicted in the death of one of her 22-month-old twins after she left the boy, with her live-in boyfriend. Now, what happened is she left the twin with the live-in boyfriend, and that boyfriend strangled the twin to death. And she has been sentenced. Remember, she didn't strangle the twin. All she did was leave the twin with the boyfriend, and she has been sentenced to 21 years to life in prison. Her name is Rebecca Thomas, and she was found guilty in May of second-degree murder and felony child abuse. The Sacramento County District Attorney's Office says she was sentenced on Friday. Investigators say that Thomas saw evidence of child abuse on her twins and was instructed to seek medical help for the injuries. Instead, prosecutors said she left her child with Taylor Montgomery Guzman, who strangled one of the twins in 2016. Montgomery Guzman was also convicted of murder and other charges. He faces maximum sentence of 31 years to life when he faces his sentencing on October 10th. So this is an interesting story. I mean, I guess you have to know more of the details, but, this is a mom that allegedly somehow they proved that she had saw evidence of child abuse happening at the hands of her boyfriend previous to this incident. And when left the twin alone with the boyfriend strangled the twin, killed the twin, and now she has been convicted of second-degree murder for leaving the twin with the boyfriend and has already been sentenced to 21 years. I'm not too sure how I feel about this, and it's hard to make a judgment call when you don't have all the details and what was presented in front of the jury, but the bottom line is she did not kill her twin. The boyfriend did. And she is facing second-degree murder charges for this. It's an insane story. It's an insane story. And that's why you have to be careful these days, because juries are awarding cases that I'm not too sure how much of a legal basis they have for the judgments that they're coming out with in these cases. You know, you've got a crazy boyfriend. You leave your son alone with that boyfriend, and the boyfriend kills the son, and you're responsible for it as a mother. It seems like a far reach. Obviously, this is a bad situation. There's got to be some bad stuff going on. She saw signs of child abuse, or maybe possible child abuse, or she wasn't sure. Who knows? But all I know is you got to be careful with your kids. You got to be careful with your kids who you leave your kids with. You start leaving them with unstable people, or you put them in any type of situation where that child could be at harm at the hands of who's watching your children. Well, apparently, according to this court case, you can be held responsible too. So this is, I'm sure this case is, as long as she has the money to fight it, it's got to be appealed to the higher courts. It just has to, because it seems like there's some really insane stuff going on this news story. Well, Apple is in the news once again, and this is very similar to a story that we read, I think it was like about a week ago, where Android or Alexa was listening in on your conversations. Well, this time, a whistleblower tells UK's The Guardian that Apple pays hundreds of contractors to grade how Siri interprets what it's hearing, but oftentimes it accidentally records unintended information. And these contractors have made claims that they've heard confidential medical details, sex acts, and even drug deals. They, in theory, don't have access to who the information belongs to, but definitely they are listening. So be careful. Your phone, which I just got a new phone right now, your phone is listening to everything you say. And it is getting out there, and other people are hearing it, even if they can't track it to who is actually saying it, which I don't know. I bet you they can track it. They just don't want to let that cat out of the bag. Allegedly. That's just an opinion. Okay, let's keep going. Rachel, Nevada. Now, Rachel, Nevada has just 54 residents, but it's quickly turning into a boom town. And the reason why is this is the location that all the Storm Area 51 guys are planning on meeting up. There's only about, let's see, I had it here, 184 hotel rooms, which most are booked, and the hotel owners are claiming that their phones are just ringing off the hook. So the bottom line of this story is, yeah, even though 1 million people or 2 million or whatever it is RSVP to storming Area 51, even though most of those people will not go, there's going to be some fruit balls that actually show up and go. So the curiosity that has me on edge about this whole thing is somebody going to actually attempt to cross over the forbidden gates of Area 51? I'll be tuning in to check it out. And I have to be honest, I really hope that somebody does. I mean, nothing's going to be more entertaining than watching a bunch of guys that broke out of their grandma's basement and actually think they have a shot at storming a Air Force base. The carnage is going to be unreal. Hopefully they have cameras down there. Now, in lighter news, you almost died this week and you don't even know it. Okay, what happened was a giant asteroid came perilously close to the Earth, and no one, NASA, not anybody saw it coming. This was a 330-foot wide space rock, and it came within 45,000 miles of Earth. That's about 1/5 the distance to the moon. They say it wasn't spotted because it was so small, while it would have hit Earth with the impact of a large nuclear weapon. It's relatively small on the cosmic scale, but enough to create a lot of damage. So count your blessings, because you almost died and you didn't know it. You were 45,000 miles away from being dead. Like you could have been extinct, like the dinosaurs. It could have been a huge asteroid. You wouldn't even seen it coming. Life is over. It shows how insignificant we really are. But we made it. We made it through. So, treat this day special, because maybe, there's some special purpose, something special you need to do. Maybe you need a t-shirt that says, I survived the near-miss asteroid. Something like that. Here we go. Now, if you have kids that play a lot of video games and you're always complaining that they need to get off that computer and go do something worthwhile with their lives, well, your kids have ammo to prove you wrong, because Jaden Ashman, he is now a millionaire, and he's only 15. And how did he win that money? You guessed it, by playing Fortnite. He and his partner won the duos round of the worldwide tournament, splitting a purse of $2.25 million. He says that he plays on average 8 hours a day, and he just beat out 40 million others in a weeks-long worldwide tournament. A $3 million prize is still up for grabs for the solo round tournament winner. Now, in this next story, you know, as much as I complain about paying taxes, I am thankful for one thing, that we pay taxes, and hopefully in most cities around this country, we have a working infrastructure that includes sewage, because in other countries, not as blessed as we are in the United States, they do have problems. Africa's population is starting to boom, but there's one huge, smelly, shitty problem. Large cities simply don't have the sewage infrastructure to facilitate the increasing number of behinds. In many cities, sewage flows into streets. In Kampala, Uganda, 1.5 million people live there, and an estimated 3 million people move in and out daily for work opportunities. So you've got 3 million people moving in and out. You've got 1.5 that live there, so that's 4.5 million people, okay? But in the giant city center, there are only 800 pay toilets and 14 free toilets. That is a lot of people to only be able to shit in 800 pay toilets and 14 free ones. Can you imagine the smell of that city? Count your blessings. I mean, that's one thing that taxes go to, that is, I will condone infrastructure, sewage. And I'm glad I don't live in Kampala, Uganda, because holy crap, man, that's got to be a madhouse. And those 14 free toilets, how bad do you think those things are? It's got to be the worst toilet you've ever seen in your life. Sony is reportedly developing a wearable air conditioner. The special shirt would include an insert for an electrical current to regulate the body's temperature, lowering temps up to 23 degrees or increasing it up to 14. No word yet on the innovation, when this innovation could be headed to the market, but Sony is working on it. Russi Taylor. Russi or Russi, it's R-U-S-S-I. Russi Taylor, the woman who voiced Minnie Mouse for more than 3 decades, has died. She passed away at her Glendale home in Southern California on Friday, according to Disney CEO Bob Iger. Russi, who was once married to longtime Mickey Mouse voice actor Wayne Allwine, was 75. No cause of death has been shared. Well, President Trump is in the crosshairs of the media once again for allegedly making a racial tweet. Now, what is this tweet, you may ask? Well, let me tell you. President Trump told Representative Elijah Cummings to clean up his, and I quote, disgusting rat and rodent-infested district. That was a tweet on Saturday drawing accusations of racism. Trump was criticizing Cummings, a black congressman from Baltimore, for his opposition to the president's border agenda. Baltimore is far worse than the conditions on the border, and Cummings should spend more time trying to clean it up, according to Trump. But to Mr. Trump's defense, White House Acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney hit the Sunday morning news circuit, insisting the comments aimed at a black lawmaker from a majority black district weren't racist. And Trump himself didn't back down, saying in a follow-up tweet that Cummings is the racist because he allows his constituents to live in deteriorating conditions. While promoting his own Amazon show, Carnival Row, Orlando Bloom was asked if he had been interested in participating in Amazon's upcoming Lord of the Rings series, since he played Legolas in the films. Bloom answered, I like to think of myself as ageless, but I don't know where I'd fit in that world. They've probably got a 19-year-old kid who's playing that character now. So, doesn't look like Orlando Bloom was asked to play Legolas in the Amazon upcoming series of Lord of the Rings. Gordon Ramsay revealed that he got high after eating a nut with a mind-altering property while filming his new show in Southeast Asia. The famed chef sampled the betel nut during a trip to a marketplace in Laos, one of the exotic locations visited in the National Geographic series. He later described the experience as a little bit bizarre. Aaron Hernandez's estate has settled with the families of the 2 men he was accused of killing in a 2012 drive-by shooting. The former New England Patriots tight end was charged with the murders but found not guilty at trial. Days after the acquittal in 2017, Hernandez killed himself inside his prison cell where he was serving a life sentence for a different murder charge. Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner are mourning the loss of their puppy, Waldo Picasso. That's an interesting name. According to TMZ, the Alaskan Klee Kai dog died after being hit by a car on the streets of New York early last week. A representative for the couple described the incident as a freak accident. Now, for the biggest headline of the day, the holy crap, I can't believe that happened, but Kylie Jenner has officially unfollowed Jordan Woods on Instagram. Now, that's big news. The move comes 5 months after Tristan Thompson cheated on Khloe Kardashian with the longtime family friend. Jordan is still currently following Kyle, for those keeping track, because this is so important. Gwen Stefani was brought to tears after hearing Kanye West's Sunday service cover of her no doubt hit, Don't Speak. The songstress took to Instagram to share her feelings on the worship song, asking Kanye to send her the whole version. Well, I think that's enough news for today. This is Jake with Radio Underland. If you'd like to help support the show, you can definitely do that at patreon.com/Radio Underland, and we'll make sure to give you a shout out to any of our sponsors that sign up there. Also, we're working on some new content that's going to be for Patreon subscribers only. So if you want to hear that, you got to get on board. I'm going to have to get that set up, because I'm pretty sure we're going to start doing a $5 a month subscription to hear the not public episodes of stuff that we do. Maybe it'll be Shut Up Sean's stand-up comedy, the whole half-hour uncut, unfiltered stand-up Shut Up Sean's stand-up comedy, or something like that. I don't know what we're doing, but something is in the works. We're definitely thinking about it, brainstorming, seeing what we want to do. Anyway, this is Jake from Radio Underland. This has been the Daily Boring News, and I will see you tomorrow night with the live show going on 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you want to watch it live, you can watch it on facebook.com/Radio Underland. Other than that, have a good one. I will talk to you later.